Hey Jason, what's the best accessory movement for my deadlift? What's the best accessory movement for my triceps? What's the best exercise for my chest? All right, people ask stuff like this all the time, and something that people need to remember. Getting stuck in this mentality will keep you from getting as big and as strong as possible. And I'm not telling people that they need to throw everything but the kitchen sink at anything. I'm not saying you need to do random stuff. But what I am saying is that having this idea in your head that there is one exercise out there, just that one exercise, that if you just train really hard for the next 7 years, is going to give you a magical bench press, or it's going to add 4 inches to your triceps, or 4 inches to your hamstrings, or whatever it happens to be. Well, we could argue maybe the glute ham raise for the hamstrings. That might be the exception to this rule. I will say without a shadow of a doubt that the glute ham raise is the best hamstring exercise ever invented. But then we could argue about, should you use plates, bands, or chains for it? Well, that's a whole other argument. Those are 3 different lifts, aren't they? Sort of resistance you use. But when you set that to the side and we start talking about these other movements, what you need to remember, like look at what I do in this video. This is stuff I have done within a 2-week window. It's bench press accessories and tricep work and chest work. You guys see me doing pause incline bench. You see me doing floor presses. You see me doing skull crushers. You see me doing weighted dips. The fact that you have seen me do all 4 of these inside of a 7-day window, I've literally done all 4 of these exercises, trained them inside of a 7-day window. Rep ranges ranging anywhere from 5 to 10, which is what you expect for accessory and assistance work. What does that tell you about what I think the best is? That's telling you that none of them are the best. Do you know what the best accessory movement is right now? The one that will give you the most carryover to your current weak spots, that will let you train large amounts of volume without overuse injuries or tendinitis in the current moment. Or the exercise that will let you put the most thickness on the area that you need to grow specifically with some extra specialization right now, with the least tendinitis and the lowest chance of overuse injuries in your current situation. That's the best one. And it's fine to have favorites. We all have favorite exercises. There are exercises we enjoy doing more than others. I get that. Nothing wrong with having lifts that you say, I love. But here's the question that I would ask you. Do you love an exercise because you think it's fun, or do you love an exercise because it gives you the results you want? Well, the exercise that's your favorite, if it's the latter, needs to change all the time, doesn't it? You should probably decide that if the weighted dip is the exercise that you need right now to put the most meat on your triceps where you need it, and you can train with large amounts of volume from it without injury, that should probably be your favorite exercise this month. If you're in a situation where doing the skull crushers like I'm doing them isn't bothering your elbows or causing inflammation, and say the medial head of your tricep and possibly the long head is lagging for you, whether it's a cosmetic weakness or a bench press weakness or performance weakness, and you currently are getting no inflammation from it, I don't know, that should probably be your favorite exercise in the entire world right now, because it's the one that's going to give you the results that you want. Well, what happens when it stops working? Is it still the best? Should it still be your favorite? No. The moment you start getting connective tissue inflammation from an exercise like this, guess what? You need to discard it. Does that mean that it wasn't good at the time? No, it means it was a great exercise at the time. If it allowed you to train and progress it and put significant training volume into a muscle that you know needs to get thicker right now, then that's a great exercise. In fact, that might be the best or close to the best exercise for your current goal. It's the best at this moment then, or close to. Well, what happens when you have to rotate it out? Because let's say the reason I just took that form of skull crusher out and I'm rotating a smaller skull crusher exercise in with chains. If you rotate that out because you notice that you're getting a little bit of mild elbow tendon inflammation, where the tricep inserts, right? You're getting a little inflammation. Seems to be caused by that. and you feel that you need a little more pectoral, so you go over to the weighted dip. Just, what I did. I replaced one of my slots for that exercise with a weighted dip in that training slot on that day. Does that mean that the weighted dip is now the best? Yes. Was the weighted dip the best a month ago? Probably not. That's what you have to remember. There is no best accessory exercise for any person on earth. It doesn't even matter if it's, well, it worked for me. No, it worked for you in 2019 from January to February. That's where it worked for you. The best accessory exercises change because they're specific to your current situation. They are specific to your current work volumes, your current recovery, your current weak point training, your current connective tissue. That's the best exercise is going to change. And I feel that's something people are really, really bad about in this community. I'm not saying there aren't exercises that aren't great. I mean, we could look at a normal deadlift, a conventional deadlift, or even a sumo deadlift and say that's almost always a great exercise. Right? We know that's a great exercise. Does it mean that it's the best exercise for you to be doing this week towards your specific goals? Well, maybe not. All we're trying to do with accessory movements is pick what seems to be a really, really good choice right now, objectively. And it doesn't need to be because it's fun and I enjoy it. I'm not saying we shouldn't enjoy our training. I'm not saying if you have to pick between two lifts that you enjoy more than the other, or one that's just easier to set up so that it's going to be easier for you to get your sets done. If they're equal, then obviously go with that one. You're going to train it harder. It's easier to set up and you like it more. Right? If you realize that maybe for your current situation, doing a close grip bench press with chains versus weighted dips, you enjoy one more than the other. Okay, that's fine. Do that one. Doesn't mean one's necessarily better than the other. There are subtle differences between what each one brings to the table. But here's the thing. You are never going to use the exact same accessory movements indefinitely. The biggest, most jacked and strongest lifters usually have a multitude of assistance movements that they rotate in and out throughout the year depending upon what's going on in their training. The best lifters know how to look at their weak points and say, what exercise do I need to do to correct that weakness? Not what's the best exercise for this muscle. What's the best exercise to improve my bench? Well, the best exercise to improve your bench is the bench press. Until it isn't. But I mean, if you're a novice, nothing will increase your bench press more than bench pressing. If you're a novice lifter, nothing will increase your conventional deadlift more than doing the conventional deadlift. Just as we get more advanced, we develop weak points. We have to work around overuse. We have to work around, again, different bar pass, movement patterns sometimes, but overuse is a big issue. And that's one of the big deal breakers for any long-term exercise. This is the reason the more advanced you get, why you need variation. It's easier to accumulate overuse injuries. It's easier to accumulate localized fatigue and connective tissue that causes tendinitis and eventual injuries. You have to periodically rotate assistance movements and accessory movements based purely upon that fact alone. Once you get reasonably strong, you get a lower injury rate. So the best exercise right now, if you did it indefinitely and pushed it too hard, could end up giving you tendinitis, or it could end up giving you an injury. So it doesn't matter that it's the best in the short term. You're eventually going to have to rotate it out. So people need to lose this idea of the best exercise. In fact, for any given job, you probably, over the course of your training career, are going to have at least 3 go-tos that you go to regularly and rotate in and out, depending upon what's going on with your training. All right, that's normal. That's what most serious lifters do. Alright guys, but that's really all I have to say on that today. I hope it's been informative, and I will talk to you guys next time.